Bruce, what's the main event for the horses here?
It's Cattlemen's Cup, which is the main thing for the whole weekend, and that involves a race on Sunday, 2.1 Ks I think it is. And to get to that stage, there's about 22 entries. We only take 10 into the cup. So there's 3 stages of that, where there's a whip cracking on horseback, where they ride around and have to crack tape between two whips, and they get scored on that. Then next event or stage of it will be an obstacle course, where you jump a log and you ride bareback over this and put a horse into a float, a few things like that. And so they get points for all those 3 stages, and at the end of the, or middle of the day, we'll find out who the top 10 points winners go into the cup.
And with the initial entry, can anybody enter?
No, well, anyone can enter as long as you've got been nominated by a cattleman. So that means that you worked for that cattleman for, like, done a few musters or spent time with him on a horse, so that we don't just get anyone coming off the street. So at least the cattleman will say, yeah, that fella there can ride, or you know, you're a bit confident about who you're going to get there. So not everyone can enter, it's only if you're nominated by a cattleman.
We're going to see you riding around on horses this weekend?
Oh, no, mate, that's gone years ago. Years ago. Oh, I still obviously ride, but not in these sorts of things. I just sort of get involved doing it.
So Beck, what's your involvement with the merchandising side of this event?
I purchase all the merchandise. We're trying to brand it so that we can turn Mountain Cattlemen's Association into its own brand. A lot of people want to get our product out there and wear it, because obviously the lobby group and what's going on with the cattlemen's. So yeah, it's really important. It's an important part of Mountain Cattlemen's Association. It does make us some money, which supports our cause. We're working with a couple of companies, Australian companies. We especially like to work with the Australian companies. And the shirts, the cattlemen shirts, they're great quality. They don't wear out fast enough, unfortunately.
So Beck, there's a few rumours sort of floating around as to why you're really here. Can you just maybe enlighten us on that to see if those rumours are true or not?
Yeah, they're all true. They're all true, mate. Yeah, I'm absolutely looking for a husband, a cowboy, and I have a passion for the heritage that we stand for, and if he's of that ethos and if he's here, I'll find him.
Well, there's bound to be a few eligible ones floating around this place, I think, this weekend, so you just never know, I think.
How are you going in those stakes?
Oh, look, you never know. Graham, congratulations on winning the packhorse event today. Have you been competing in this event for very long?
Yeah, about probably 18, 19 years. Probably winning I lost one out of that, but winning every other year, yeah.
And after today, you can see your family's pretty dominant in the event.
The family they love it. They like going in all the time, yeah, for sure, and they've been winning for a while too, so.
It must be something you're pretty proud of, because the packhorse is fairly known for its tradition in the early days.
It is. They packed everywhere. To get stuff in back where they used to live, they packed everything in.
And are you still doing much packhorse work?
We still do a bit of it, because we've got cattle up in lease country, but private lease country where we run cattle, and we still pack out there and checking cattle calving and all that sort of stuff.
You're right, so it is still, fairly commonly used.
Yeah, so we do a bit of that.
Yeah, it's great. Well, congratulations.
No, thanks very much.
Very proud of the family that's done so well today.
Yep, no, very good.
Bridget, we really appreciate you giving us some time today, but could you just tell us what your role is within Federal Parliament?
Yeah, thanks Tim, it's great to be here, isn't it? I'm a Senator for Victoria, so my role is to sit in the Federal Parliament, in the Senate, and actually represent the needs of Victoria, our whole state. But as a National Party Senator, I have a keen focus in the things about regional Victoria.
And have you got a sort of a country background as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Country born and bred. Absolutely. Coming up here is quite meaningful to me, because my own family comes from this area. We settled here in the 1850s, And in fact, my grandfather had leases, 60,000 acres of high country cattlemen leases that we sold in the 1930s from Victoria Falls up to Dinner Plain. So a big chunk of Kabungra Station was ours up until the 1930s, and now we ran Hereford down Castles Road. So strong memories, strong traditions right throughout my family for the high country cattlemen and this area in particular.
So you'd have a fair bit of passion involved with what's going on here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think events like this are fabulous because they actually showcase the skills that are required to run cattle in the high country, the horsemanship and the survival skills that are needed to actually make a go of running cattle through our Alpine National Park. And one of the things that I think this event, particularly this year, has been able to highlight is that it's important that the cattle can get back up into the country, that our high country cattlemen families can do what they've always done. International treaties that we've signed actually allow us to not just value our national parks for environmental reasons, but for economic, such as running cattle, recreational, or indeed cultural reasons. And something like the culture and strong tradition, you couldn't find anything more iconic or poetic than the notion of a high country cattleman in Victorian and indeed nationwide Australian folklore. And in a country as relatively young as Australia, we don't have a lot of, aside from our Indigenous culture obviously, traditions that we've built up, but this is one of them. People have been grazing up here since the 1830s and it's time that we actually all got behind them and supported them, so I'm rapt with the state and the federal government's response.
That's a big change, isn't it? If you're starting to now get politicians actually coming to these events and getting behind the cause, that's pretty good.
Well, Tim, they are smart enough to realise that the management strategy of this high country for the last 30-odd years is not working. The bush is going backwards. They see us, with our knowledge of 150 years, as the people that should be involved in part of the management process. We don't want it all, we just want to be involved in part of it. And I take my hat off to the government for standing up and saying, hey, we want their knowledge involved. If you don't become part of your environment, and this environment is tough, it'll kill you. You've got to become part of it, you've got to live in harmony with it. And if you can do that for my 6 generations on the ground now with my grandkids, it speaks volumes for being part of the environment. We're not against it, we're for it. We're of it, and it's of us.
Wow, what a 3 days it's been. And did you know that it's a known fact that without cattle in the high country, there'll be no more mountain cattlemen in the future, and gradually that history will be lost forever. So why don't you put your support behind the next Mountain Cattlemen's gathering, and we'll hope to see you out in the bush here someday.